Hey everyone, I'm 33. Before I dive into my story, let me ask you this. What would you do if you caught your wife, whom you completely trusted, with two men in your marital bed? I met my wife, Tracy, who's 29, at the movies. I went to a film premiere with my friends, and she was there with her girlfriends. That day, a spark flew between us, and we soon started dating. We were together for a year before we got married. What began as a simple friendship turned into the saddest and most romantic story of my life. At the start of our marriage, marrying Tracy felt like a blessing. We were happy together, and I did everything I could as a man and her husband to support her dreams and inspire her to grow. The first 2 years, our marriage was solid. Tracy was kind, caring, and smart. I'd say she was everything I ever dreamed of in a woman: great cook, amazing personality, refined, and above all, honest. Her honesty was what I valued most. Tracy worked at a diner, while I was a graphic designer at a company that handled banner printing, billboards, and design work. We both earned decent money, but I covered most of the household expenses, because Tracy spent hers chasing her dream. Before we got married, she told me she'd always wanted to be an actress, but her parents never supported her. They pushed her to pick a different major in college, thinking acting wasn't a respectable career. When Tracy shared her dream with me and asked if I'd be okay with her pursuing it, I supported her. I hadn't followed my own dreams, and knew how it felt to crave something you couldn't have. So, I encouraged Tracy to join drama clubs, take on volunteer roles, and participate in projects that could bring her closer to her goal. We also planned for her to attend a theater academy once we saved enough money. I supported Tracy because she was truly talented. Despite her occasional dramatic and moody nature, she was an excellent actress. Before we met, she'd taken a few acting courses and probably watched 1,000 YouTube videos on the craft. Her dedication was clear, and I didn't want to be the one to crush her dream. We delayed having kids because of her academy plans, thinking we'd start a family after she graduated. I believed she'd land great roles in plays, or even movies by then. I was her biggest cheerleader, pushing her to take part in productions and projects to showcase her talent and land bigger roles. I did everything for her success, wanting only the best for her. When Tracy asked if I was okay with her pursuing acting, we were still in our first year of marriage, and everything was perfect. We never fought or argued seriously. She was like a sweet peach, respectful and loving. During that first year, Tracy constantly applied for volunteer roles online, but kept getting rejected. At one point, she got discouraged and focused on her new job instead, but I kept encouraging her not to give up. Thankfully, a few months after our first anniversary, she got a response to one of her applications. She was invited to audition for a theater production, looking for new actors and actresses. Tracy was over the moon, and I was thrilled for her. The audition was in our city, giving her plenty of time to prepare. On the day of the audition, Tracy nailed it and got the role. She was beaming when she told me. Another bonus was that the actors were paid, and rehearsals were mostly on weekends. I didn't expect Tracy to change so much after rehearsals started. For the first few weeks, things stayed normal. We communicated well and lived our usual life. The only difference was that we spent less time together on weekends, because rehearsals took up her time. She'd get up, clean, cook, go to rehearsal, and come back late. Though I didn't like the new routine, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to ruin her first big break. Plus, she earned more on weekends than she did all week at the diner. Over time, a distance grew between us. To keep busy on weekends, I played video games, hung out with friends, or invited them over. I'd known these friends since high school and college, so I trusted them. When I told them about Tracy's acting and how much time it took, one friend, Eric, suggested I keep a closer eye on her. There were rumors that some actresses slept with directors for roles. I brushed it off, assuring them Tracy wasn't like that. She wouldn't sleep with anyone for a role. She was too talented. Foolish me. They didn't bring her up again, but repeated their advice to watch her closely, as new actors and actresses, like Tracy, were at high risk of infidelity. I didn't take them seriously. I was 100% sure Tracy would never do anything to hurt me or ruin our happy marriage. But their words stuck with me, and I started subtly questioning Tracy. When Tracy noticed I was acting differently, she complained about my questions and how I was treating her. I apologized and told her what my friend had said. She laughed it off, saying she'd never cheat because she loved me too much. "You're the best husband in the world," she said. "Only a foolish, ungrateful woman would cheat on you." Her words reassured me, and I felt at peace, certain she wouldn't betray me. If only I'd known, she was just doing what she did best, acting. She'd already started cheating before that conversation. The next week, Tracy changed completely. It's hard to describe. Our conversations felt strained, and the excitement she used to bring home vanished. Before, she'd come home like an excited kid, telling me everything about rehearsals, though I'd never been there. I knew the names, looks, and personalities of everyone she worked with, because she shared everything. We were so close, and I always looked forward to her weekend stories. But that stopped. Besides growing distant, Tracy became defensive, getting upset at almost everything I said, even old jokes she used to laugh at. Now, she took them as attacks. Then she revamped her wardrobe, buying dresses she wore only to rehearsals, dresses that were quite revealing. I voiced my discomfort a few times, but she dismissed me, saying it was trendy and I didn't get it. I thought she was just trying to keep up with other actresses who dressed flashier. Knowing she loved competing with her outfits, cheating was the last thing on my mind. Suspicions crept in when she started changing her hairstyle weekly and constantly talked on the phone with a man she introduced as her scene partner. One day she did something that really set me off. When I confronted her, she yelled at me and stormed out. It was the first time she'd done that, and I knew I had to do something. Later that evening, I talked to my friends when they came over. They were convinced Tracy was cheating. Despite all the signs, I couldn't believe it. I'd done so much for her. I argued that maybe she was just going through a tough time and taking it out on me, but my friends insisted I was blinded by love, and suggested hiring a private investigator if I wanted the truth. I wasn't thrilled about the idea of someone spying on Tracy, but her sudden change in behavior pushed me to agree. The next week, I found a private investigator online and hired him to watch her for 7 days. On the third day, Tracy didn't come home after rehearsal. The next day, when she finally showed up, she said she'd been at a club for an actress's birthday and stayed at a nearby hotel with them because it was safer than driving home late. The weirdest part, she never mentioned this party to me. I called her until 3. When she finally answered, she claimed she didn't hear the phone because of the loud music, then lied, saying she'd told me about the party, but I just wasn't listening. I suspected she was lying, but I knew I'd soon find out the truth, since the detective was on her trail all week. I didn't hear from the detective until I was out of town visiting my parents. I was already driving back when he called, saying he had something to show me. Instead of going home, I went straight to his office. Tracy didn't know I was returning that day. We'd spoken the previous Friday, and I told her I'd be back Monday morning, because I wanted to stay longer with my parents, but I returned Saturday instead. When I met the detective, he showed me materials that shattered me and left me speechless. He had photos and videos of Tracy with some blonde guy, her lover. There were shots of them kissing in a car, shopping, dining, and a video from the night she was supposedly at the actress's birthday party, and didn't hear my calls. The video showed she spent the entire night with this guy. They went to a club, then around 10 p.m., left for his place, where she stayed. It meant one thing. She saw my calls but deliberately ignored them. I was in shock that Tracy had cheated on me. She seemed like someone I could build a future with, but she destroyed everything. After showing me the photos and videos, the detective added that he'd followed her that evening too, and she was currently at my house with her lover. He'd just stepped out to call me. I was so furious I wanted to smash everything around me. Too angry to drive, the detective took me home himself. When we pulled up, I saw a blue Toyota Venza in the driveway, the same car from the photos and videos. I knew Tracy was inside with him. The detective offered to come with me, and I don't remember if I agreed. The next thing I recall, I was in the house opening the bedroom door, and there was Tracy with 2 men in the middle of it all. I lost it and didn't know who to attack first. Tracy was in sheer silk lingerie, her hands cuffed to the bed. When they saw me, they tried to get up, but the cuffs stopped her. I lunged at the blonde guy, while the other grabbed his clothes and bolted like a coward. Thankfully, the detective had come in with me and stopped me from doing something I'd regret. The whole time Tracy was still cuffed to the bed, begging me. She claimed I'd misunderstood, that they were just rehearsing a scene from the play. Her pathetic excuse infuriated me even more, and I wanted to strangle her right there, but I just left the room and told her to be gone by the time I returned. The detective said he'd recorded everything and gave me the footage. I didn't know what to do with it, but took it anyway. That night, I stayed at a friend's place. I was so ashamed. He'd been right about Tracy and her new acting career. but the most painful part was that she'd had a threesome in our bedroom, in our bed. When I returned home the next morning, Tracy was still there. She hadn't gone to rehearsal, probably realizing what she'd done. Seeing her sent rage coursing through me, and I threw her out, tossing her things onto the lawn. She begged, saying I was making a mistake and needed to let her explain. For nearly an hour, she stood outside, screaming my name, pleading to be let back in. When her fake remorse didn't work, she turned aggressive, insulting me, calling me names, and finally left. This all happened last week, and I'm only now able to share because I haven't been able to process it since that day. I still don't understand how this happened right under my nose. I wasn't some controlling husband monitoring her every move. We split the bills. She did most of the housework, and I always kept my emotions in check, avoiding scenes. I'm saying this because I've read stories where men ignore red flags. Looking back, I realize I should have started digging when our communication faded and she began changing her wardrobe. But is that what marriage is, suspecting your partner the moment they buy new clothes, or stop talking because they're tired from work? I don't think so. What bugs me most is that she hasn't stopped calling me since. I'm thinking vengeance and want to show that video to her director. Update. Hey everyone, thanks for your comments. I'm glad you don't think my actions were over the top. Someone suggested finding out about the second guy from the video. I did, and guess what? He's currently dating Tracy's director, who's openly gay. I can only imagine how pissed the director will be when he learns Tracy seduced his boyfriend. Speaking of Tracy, she showed up 3 days ago, looking awful, puffy eyes, crying, totally miserable. Unfortunately for her, my friends were over. They didn't say anything, but their glares and demeanor set her off. She was furious that I was hanging out with friends, ignoring her, and shouted, "This is how you let your friends treat your wife, Mike," just because of some petty fight. All this time, Tracy was begging for forgiveness on the porch. I didn't go out, just sat inside listening, but when she shamelessly said that, I stormed out ready to let her have it. My friend stopped me just in time. I was so angry I could have ended up in jail, and I wanted it to be worth it. Before leaving, Tracy made a scene, ranting about our promises, and how I swore we'd grow old together. I was boiling, but I couldn't do anything even if I wanted to. After waiting, and getting no response, she brought up the theater academy I'd promised to pay for. I wanted to yell, "Go ask your lover for support now," but I just wanted her gone, so I stayed silent. Eventually she left, head down, defeated. I've already contacted a divorce lawyer. Once the papers are ready, he'll send them to her to sign. As for revenge, I'll do what you suggested. I know showing the video to the director might not ruin her career, but it'll definitely destroy the progress she's made these past few months. The fact that Tracy slept with her director's boyfriend only fuels my desire for payback. Thanks everyone. Another update soon. Update. Hey everyone. I'm writing this update with excitement because things turned out way worse for Tracy than I expected. After the last update, it took me 2 weeks to track down her director online. But I did it. He's just starting out in the film industry, but shows a lot of promise. We arranged to meet, and he actually showed up. He was intrigued when I said I had something to show him about his partner, and one of the actresses. That day, I didn't waste time. After some polite small talk, I showed him the video of his boyfriend, the blonde guy, and Tracy. He was so devastated and heartbroken that he broke down crying. No joke. He admitted he'd suspected his boyfriend was messing around with someone in the cast, but had no proof. He also said his boyfriend had cheated once before, but he forgave him because he claimed it was a drunken mistake. Honestly, I didn't care much about that. I was more concerned about what the director would do to Tracy and her lover. When I asked the director what he'd do about Tracy and her lover, he said he hadn't decided yet. I told him it would be weak to just let them off, especially after Tracy betrayed him like that. Long story short, he fired both Tracy and her blonde boyfriend. I don't know if he broke up with the guy, but Tracy was left with nothing. When she got fired, I felt real satisfaction watching her hard work crumble to dust. I wanted her to feel what it's like to pour 100% into something, only to lose it all because of someone else. By the time she was fired, the divorce papers were ready, and my lawyer sent them to her. The day she received them, Tracy called, begging me not to destroy everything we'd built. I told her she destroyed it the moment she thought about cheating. I admitted I was the one who showed the video to the director, ruining months of her work. I knew she'd be furious, and she was. She accused me of being jealous, saying I just hated that she could chase her dream while I couldn't. I laughed, realizing she was trying to twist it in her favor, and hung up. 2 weeks ago, she signed the papers, and I'm writing this update as a divorced man. It hurts, but I'm glad she's out of my life. Thanks for all the comments and support. What's your take on this story? Do you think this kind of behavior is ever acceptable when someone has a creative profession? I know most of you will say, no, absolutely not. But think about it. Creative jobs often require inspiration, and people sometimes find that through new romantic connections or similar experiences. How can an actress truly feel betrayal without betraying? How can she capture new passion without a new object of desire? I can already feel you all roasting me for this, so let's move on to the next story. Story 2. I found out my wife is cheating on me, and I don't know what to do. Let me start with some background. My wife is 34, I'm 36, and we've been together for almost 17 years. We have 3 kids, and an old house we've been slowly fixing up over the last 2 years. Money's tight, no savings, just a pile of debt. She's the only woman I've ever been with. Before me, she had just a couple of brief relationships. So we both had little experience when we met. She was the light of my life, and we've been through tons of tough times together, always supporting each other. I thought we were one of those rare couples who'd stay together no matter what. Turns out I was wrong. Amid all the chaos, home repairs, full-time jobs, constant struggling to make ends meet, and taking care of the kids, we lost ourselves. Financial stress and health issues only made things worse. My wife has been trying to lose weight for years with no success, and her self-esteem was at rock bottom. We were both depressed, but instead of talking and comforting each other, we shut down. I buried myself in video games, and she was glued to her phone. Things got worse in the spring and summer. She started spending more time with her friends, going to parties, while I stayed home with the kids. I thought letting her blow off steam would help her come back in a better mood, but it didn't work. I tried to ignore the bad feeling growing inside me. Then, I heard a rumor that she was seen kissing some guy at a dance in a nearby town. I asked her about it directly, but she denied it, saying the guy came on to her and she pushed him away. I didn't fully buy it but didn't want to push. I tried to show I trusted her, but then I noticed she was getting more secretive, guarding her phone like a hawk. In August 2022, I accidentally saw her Facebook password and decided to check if I could find anything about the dance incident. What I found was far worse. Yes, she did kiss some guy while drunk, until her friends stopped her, but that was nothing compared to what came next. I checked her messenger and found she'd been chatting online with 2 foreign guys. Let's call them A and B for months. It started on Instagram. Guy A sent her compliments, and they moved to Skype. By early June, just weeks after they started talking, she was sending him nude photos, though she hesitated at first. The kissing incident happened later that month, and she kept messaging this guy until mid-August when he revealed his true intentions. Turns out he was a scammer using a stolen account, sending her photos from someone else's profile. Yet she was so smitten she sent him her most intimate pictures. It seemed like she was in love with him. By then, she'd already started talking to Guy B. Their chats quickly turned to nudes and explicit conversations too. In both cases, they fantasized about coming to our country and meeting her in a hotel. She never badmouthed me. If they asked, she'd say I treated her well, but then add how much she enjoyed talking to them, and how they made her feel good. But the worst was yet to come. In a chat with one of her friends, I found something even more disturbing. In early July, they went to a 2-day festival in a nearby town, staying in a rented apartment. I'd given my okay, suspecting nothing. I knew her friend had panic attacks and ended up in the hospital that night. But what I didn't know, and learned from their chat, was that my wife met a 41-year-old guy from our town. Let's call him G. He was married with kids, in an unhappy relationship, and they hit it off. He tried to get her into bed, but she told her friend she stopped him. She didn't mention me, but our town is small, and I quickly figured out who it could be. In her phone records I found a message to a number that likely belongs to him. I have the worst feeling about this. I haven't told my wife I know all this. I was afraid something unpredictable might happen in front of the kids, so I put on a neutral face and waited until Saturday, August 24 to talk to her. I asked my mom to watch the kids. My wife is studying for a work-related degree, and when she got back from class, I calmly asked her to sit and told her I knew everything. There was no yelling, no insults, no violence, just 2 sad people, one hurt and angry. We talked all night. She swore nothing happened with G, and that the online stuff was just a way to boost her self-esteem. She felt I didn't love her anymore because she couldn't lose weight. When these guys showered her with compliments, she got hooked. She admitted she didn't mean to hurt me, just acted selfishly to keep their praise coming. That's why she sent the nude photos. She said she now realizes it was cheating, but at the time she didn't grasp the full scope, though she knew it was wrong. I wanted to believe her. I really did, but doubts lingered. We decided to try fixing things, and started seeing a couples therapist. Over the weeks, things seemed to improve. She became more affectionate and caring. Our intimacy was great again. We spent more time together, but I still had a gut feeling she was hiding something. After our second therapy session last week, she finally admitted what I'd feared and suspected deep down. Yes, she slept with G that night in July. She said she felt guilt and shame afterward, but still kept talking to him on social media. She admitted she met G 2 more times after that night, but claimed it never went beyond kissing. She even tried contacting him again, a few days after our first talk in August. My initial reaction was numbness. I didn't yell, curse, or touch her. Part of me felt relief that she finally confessed what I'd suspected. But at the same time, something worse than any humiliation hit me. A crushing pain. I didn't want to make rash decisions, so I haven't thrown my ring in her face or gone after the guy. I don't want to be the person who exposes him to his wife or ends up in jail for assault. After all, he didn't break our marriage vows. My wife did. I no longer know what to believe. The woman I thought I knew would never have done this. She's trying to convince me she was a foolish, selfish idiot and is deeply ashamed of hurting me. She says she'll do anything to earn back my trust and be worthy of me again. But honestly, I'm not sure I'll ever trust her or look at her the same way. Yes, I still love her. I enjoy being around her, seeing her smile, but every time something tightens in my chest. I want us to work things out for the kids and our dire financial situation. We simply can't afford a divorce, but I'm scared that by continuing, I'll lose myself and my self-respect forever. How the hell do you forgive a wife for cheating with not one, not two, but 3 men? And if you count the random guy she kissed, that's 4. She cheated physically and emotionally, and it went on for a while, not some drunken mistake. Even if 2 of those relationships were online, she fully intended to meet those guys, knowing what would happen. Has anyone been through something similar? Do you have any solid advice? I know it's easy to say, just divorce her and move on. But it's not that simple. I still have feelings for her. I don't know how this will affect our kids or our families. I'm also worried that if I file for divorce and her family and friends find out the truth, she might harm herself. We still have an unfinished house and no savings. We need to at least finish the repairs to sell the house and get some money. Update. After reading your comments and talking with close friends, I finally found the confidence to believe in myself. I opened my eyes to what I'd been feeling inside for a long time. There was no way I could move past what my wife did. So last Thursday I told her I wanted a divorce. I think she saw it coming because she didn't seem shocked or try to change my mind. She just kept repeating, like a broken record, nothing I say will change anything. When I asked her to say something, she just sobbed. She took sick leave and didn't go to work. Since then, we've started telling our closest friends and family about the upcoming divorce, but she desperately doesn't want to admit her cheating to her parents. My mom knows everything, but for some reason, I agreed not to tell her family yet. Maybe I'm afraid it'll spark an all-out war with my soon-to-be ex-wife, so I gave her time to tell them herself. Last Sunday we met with her parents and told them we're divorcing. Since we had to leave 2 of our kids with them for 3 days due to school break, it didn't feel like the right time to drop the truth about their daughter's affairs. Instead, we said we had irreconcilable differences. It was hard to say because her parents looked so disappointed. These people have been part of my life for nearly 17 years. I truly respect them. They've always supported us, financially and by spending time with the kids. I hate lying to them, but I'm worried that if I tell the truth, my wife will get angry and the divorce process will get messier. My patience isn't infinite though. If she doesn't tell them soon, I will. I also don't want the real reasons for our divorce to become public knowledge. We live in a small town, and the truth will eventually reach our kids. They could become targets of ridicule. I'd prefer the truth stay with our closest circle, with the official version being, we grew apart. I also don't want to be known as the poor guy whose wife cheated on him. There are still so many loose ends. We need to sell the house and find new places to live. Custody will be joint. 1 week with me, 1 with her. I have no idea how it'll turn out, but in our country, courts usually side with the mother. I'll fight for my kids though. That's all for now. Thanks for watching or listening to this video until the end. Check out our previous video, which you'll see right here. Good luck to you all.